I am joined as ever by Anne. Hello, Anne.
Hello, it is wonderful to start 2026 on radio, pure media. Amen.
Yes. Now, we have Christmas decorations because, hey, 12 days before and after, and we're too lazy to get it down. We will. But we are in the new year, 2026, and we're going to continue looking at sensory health. Last year, we were looking at, well, we kind of switched, didn't we, to sensory healthy somethings, whether
Mm.
it's how do you have a sensory healthy office or a sensory healthy walk in the forest? How do you have a sensory healthy going to bed routine? And I've really enjoyed that. Are you happy going on? Because I really like that style.
Oh, I am more than happy to chat about anything. I live, breathe, and work, and all the rest of it sensory. So yeah, you fire anything to me, and I will gladly, gladly, gladly respond.
Okay, fine. Well, let's do this then. Let's just jump straight in with sensory healthy New Year
Oh,
because New Year's Eve is behind us, New Year's Day, but resolutions, if
mm.
you're still keeping them right now, many people may have already abandoned them. But New Year's resolutions, it's not a bad idea because I think in essence it's saying, well, we've got a new year. What do we want to achieve this year? That is the healthy part.
Mm.
Religiously trying to follow it, that's really stressful because if you think I'm going to lose 20 stone or, I'm going to run 20 miles and you've never run, it's not going to happen. So smart goals is always going to be a key. However, I think sensory healthy New Year's stuff, let's
Mm.
package it that way.
Yeah. And what I love most about the new year is the sense of decluttering. We're not quite in the spring clean type. That's a few months down the line. But the decluttering and the filtering out, the getting rid of stuff that was from last year that we don't need anymore. What are the new things we want to bring in that are going to increase our vitality, our abundance, our joy, our health? Those are the things that I would love for folk to seriously just pay a moment's attention to consider from a sensory perspective. What are the things that are part of your lifestyle that either you just need to get rid of, that you need to introduce, or you just need to tweak in a way that means that 2026 is going to be your optimum year for sensory health?
Now, in the run up to Christmas, we spoke with Christians Against Poverty and Care for the Family. And there was one thing that both of those, as we were trying to prepare for Christmas, really helped us understand, which was very similar. What can you, first of all, what can you cut out that you don't need it? It's just not, it doesn't need to be part of your life. So you start by thinking, what can we get rid of? It's the simplest one. Whether it's finances and you're struggling, well, you stop paying for things you don't need. That's the first one. It's the easy one. Or if it's family, you're thinking, well, being very blunt, and this isn't quite what they said, but this is me version of it. But are there members of the family that you need to cut out of your life because they're just causing you such strife? That's okay, by the way. May seem harsh, but it's okay. Are there things or people or situations that you need to just cut out? They're not needed. They're not part of it. That'll be part of it. And then you're looking at, well, if you can't get rid of it and you need to have it, how do you maximize that? How do you make best use of? Well, you can't not buy food, but you can buy cheaper food, or you can potentially buy in bulk and do things differently. Or perhaps if you're thinking about parties with your family, perhaps you don't invite every single person, their dog, and the goldfish's best mate. Maybe you strip it back to just a few people. But in terms of sensory health, that's no different because what is it that's causing our sensory health to overload? Is it possible to get rid of that? I don't know. Christmas is sort of in the wind, isn't it? So those toys with batteries that make large noises. Does your child really need to have that if it's triggering your dog, who then jumps around, smashes off the radiator, kills a goldfish? Maybe we can get rid of that thing.
Mhm.
Maybe it's not that beneficial because the thing is, because we've touched on this before. My brain is working. We've touched on this before in a restaurant we went to, and there was two families who had kids with tablets and no headphones, and it
Mm.
destroyed the environment for everybody. I'm sure those two children were very happy, but you know what? The 80 people in the restaurant really were not
Mm.
happy. And
Mm.
part of dealing with your own sensory health is being respectful of people around you.
Yeah, it is. It is. And that's nice. We've kind of given a lot of grace, taken a lot of stuff over the Christmas season, had to cope with an awful lot of stuff. And now it's the time to think, okay, we've done that because it's right to do and it can be fun to do and it's a way of honoring other people. But actually going into the new year, we need to pull back. For us, where we're recording, it's winter time. It's a time where you're not out and about quite so much. there's a lot of retreating. It's almost like a hibernation time, within reason. But that's that time to think, okay, let's regroup, let's have a look, let's settle down, let's help our nervous systems recover also from the times away. School's going back. We're starting to get into the new way of life for what January and 2026 looks like. But we are going to have to potentially change things.
But this is the thing about the new year. There's all the excitement of Christmas, or perhaps all the stress of Christmas. It's the end result is the same. We're tired, perhaps less able to deal with it. Whether it was a really great Christmas and all these amazing gifts appeared, or we lost our job and there was no Christmas food, it's the same end result. It's gonna trip our senses, our emotions, our physical body, our being. It's
Mm.
gonna put it into an overdrive one way or another, and the same result of that is always going to be tiredness.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And I love the other aspect of what the positivity of the new year is when so many people focus on their physical health. And is such a good fit with mental health and sensory health because so much of our physical output, when people start actually going to the gym or they start going for walks or they realize that the puppy that they got does need a daily walk. And if they're not returning it, which they shouldn't, because a dog is for life and not for Christmas, then it is that really good incentive because you are feeding into your proprioceptive vestibular systems. So exercise is one of the very best things that you can take into the new year for mental health, physical health, sensory health. It is the number one, and I've no doubt as to why it is such a good time of year to feed into your what seems to be your physical health with people thinking, oh, they want to lose weight, but it has so many other ramifications. And whether you actually lose the weight or not, really, from a sensory perspective, that doesn't matter. What does matter is that you're feeding your proprioceptive, vestibular, and potentially tactile systems too.
Sensory health is going to take a hit over Christmas and New Year's as we come back into the norms. I mean, maybe you've taken a much longer holiday off your work. I don't know whether you work in construction or in office or wherever you might work, and maybe you've taken a long holiday. You're not back at work yet. There still needs to be that, I suppose, grace to ourselves of saying, do you know, this is a new routine, this is a new year, the old year has gone, and there is a healthy, is it introspection? I don't know, just the self realization that, you know what, there's a year gone and there's a new year ahead of us,
Mm.
which is why I think New Year's resolutions are so popular because it is quite a good way of marking the end of 25, start of 26, whatever year you're in, because there is something healthy about, okay, almost like a clean slate, kind of, because it's
Mm.
got a different number. So you got another 365 days or whatever ahead. What else can we do this year?
Yeah, yeah. I absolutely love New Year's. That there is something about it for me where it is a pause, it's a time for reflection. I'm busy, 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 and I'm doing all the time. I love what I do, so I'm actively thinking, but it's a New Year's a time to stop and reflect more than anything. That's where the goodness of a resolution comes in because it gets people thinking. It's just making sure that those resolutions or the mindset with which you want to live your next year. That's the bit that's really important to change and to make sure that those things that are important do. And I wouldn't even call them a resolution because most of us, I think, psychologically know that yeah, that they they go by pretty quickly. So it's not. It's just what can shift in your mindset to make sure that you stay as well as you possibly can throughout 2026.
Let's go in this direction then. New Year's resolutions. We know that, as you said, they don't necessarily last beyond the 2nd of January. I'm not going to have another piece of chocolate until you think, oh, it's going to go off soon. Hey, I might as well just, when I get through this, then we'll start that one. Or
Uh,
perhaps another very common one. I'm going to give up drinking because you've had 4 hangovers because you've not been responsible. I'm never going to drink again. And then all of a sudden, someone gives you your favorite glass of wine or something. And it's so tempting to have these resolutions that we can't follow. And I would say that almost always it's about me. I want to get fit. I want to get healthy. I want to do this. It's New Year's resolutions about yourself. However, let's turn that on its head a little bit.
mm,
Perhaps we do better if we thought about New Year's resolutions. How can I improve the world of the people around me? Because
mm,
then we're likely to be more realistic. But let's just do New Year's resolutions, 3 century health New Year's resolutions for the year ahead.
Mm. The first one, find out those that you are close to. Find out the ones that you spend most of your time with, whether that be at school, at the office, at home. Ask. I would love people to ask other people how they actually find the lights or the sounds, or how often they need to get up and move. What kind of coffee, what kind of tastes, what kind of things to bless that individual so that you don't if you annoy somebody by clicking the edge of your pen, they may not think to tell you because it's a you have to be quite assertive to be able to tell somebody, look, will you stop clicking that pen? It's really bugging me. But if you ask and actually say, look, let's just do an audit. Let's just do a refresh. Let's look at the new year. How can I be a better workmate for you? How can I be a better spouse? How could I be a better mum or dad, or a son or a daughter to you? And use rather than the finances or gifts or love languages or anything else that we might want to use, do it from a sensory perspective and talk about the amount of noise that you make in the household, the amount of noise that you make in the office, um, all of those sights and sounds. I am continuing on. I love twinklies. I've realised that over this Christmas season, the flashing lights but not coloured lights, but I really love the twinkly. We just call them twinklies at home. And that's something that I'm going to continue into my new year having because they bring me the joy. So my little lights are continuing on. But yeah, so the first one, have the conversation with somebody that you love about the 8 senses. I would stick with the 7 because actually you don't really know what's going on internally as to what their heart rate is doing or, how hungry they are or whatever. But mind you, if you have little children, they might want to be fed more often than every 3 hours. It's just like, oh, please, I get really hungry and you keep telling me to wait for my food, but, just feed them after 2 hours. Try and don't stretch it to the 3 hours. Little things like that. Just have the conversations. That absolutely would be my number one. Talk to those around you.
I wonder how much better, as I said before, if we started to think about New Year's resolutions, not so much what do I want, but how can we serve the people around us, which is
Mm,
why your number one is perfect. Ask them, does the smell of the coffee that I really like, does that offend you? I remember somebody who only ever ate curry when his wife was away for at least 3 days because she hated it so much. Now, I
right.
don't think that was very nice. It wasn't a good way of dealing with the marriage, but he really liked curry. So he wouldn't eat it unless he was away for 3 days, or
Right.
he was away for 3 days and took curry with him. Now, that's a bit of an extreme one. I think there are perhaps other ways of working that one through. But there are things that we can do, and perhaps things that we give up that maybe the other person doesn't care about. And
Mm,
maybe in that scenario, well, they didn't like the curry for now. They actually maybe that's switched. I remember reading somebody who is a marriage coach, and when she got married, so I hate sport. Hate sport, hate it. My husband loves sport. I hate that he loves sport. And that was kind of where she came into the marriage. And
mm.
after a while, she thought, do you know what? Maybe I should take some interest in what he likes. And now she's the bigger sports fan. So it flipped around.
Mm,
But there are things we can do. But perhaps just on that one, just check if someone still doesn't like something. Do you still
mm,
not like that smell? Do you still not
mm.
like the smell of the coffee? Would you
Yeah,
still, I do this or do that? Because sometimes things change. Our taste buds change over time.
yeah.
Why would our senses and our preferences not change also?
Yeah, 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 and that's key, and that's absolutely vital. Yeah, totally. Having conversations, especially if we stay within marriage, we need to protect and strengthen our marriage these days more than ever. There is an assault all over to destroy the family and the family life. And these little conversations are the things that keep us connected, that keep us faithful in covenant, that keep us honoring the person that we've married. So the whole love and the feeling and all that it might be there in moments, but it's the covenant, it's the promise, it's the honor, it's the dedication, it's that commitment to that other person that will hold and cement and strengthen marriages over time and keep marriage as the stability of our society, which it actually is.
I totally agree. Number two, sensory healthy Christmas, New Year's resolutions for sensory health.
I think you have to pull it back to you and allow yourself. Okay, first one about other people. Second one is about what is it about you? Really look at those things that make you go, yes. You know, what are those things that will bring that joy and that happiness and that sense of contentment, fulfillment? I remember speaking to, he was an autistic doctor. And he came to me because he had problems giving people injections and tactile issues, which is part and parcel of the autistic profile normally, of how people present in their sensory processing. So we worked on his skin system and his tactile processing, but he loved social proprioceptive connection and that participation. So it was for him, what brought him that joy was to be able to connect with someone else and do something physical with them. So using those muscles and those joints, it wasn't reliant on going down to the pub for a drink. It wasn't relying on going out and eating. It wasn't relying on the conversation because that was not his skill set, but it was relying on company in doing something physical with someone else and sharing that, what turned out to be more of a sports focus of connection. So find those things, whether it be the cups of coffee, whether it be the warmth, whether it be having someone round by the fire, whether it be the hot chocolate or the certain sounds, the certain smells. All of that stuff. Again, pay attention, have a stop, have a think. How have you changed? What are the things that now feed your system and that will help you regroup, reset, rebalance? I know for me personally, I'm going to be continuing with Pilates. That was a new thing that I took up 2025, and it's amazing. And I am loving that too. So not only do I have my sauna, I now have my Pilates, which feeds again physically, keeps me fit, mentally, emotionally, and then sensory health wise. I know it's so good. It's so good for my body. It's breath and it's muscles, and yeah, it's great.
I quite like the idea of a doctor who doesn't like to give injections. Um, I can see how that might be a bit of an issue, especially in a hospital situation. Although I
Mm.
remember I had to have a blood test one time. I have no idea what now, it was 25 years ago. But the doctor said, look, I can see you're nervous already. I hate needles, he said, which I find fascinating because this was quite an experienced doctor, quite a mature
Ah.
guy. He says, I still hate needles. I absolutely do not like needles. I don't like putting them in people and I don't like holding
Yeah.
them because I'm about to assault you legally. I think was his kind of point, and with your permission. But he was great because he was so gentle. He said, I know you don't like it. And I genuinely can say I did not feel the needle go in. He said, yeah, it's because I'm gentle, because I hate it so much.
Wow.
So he was such a developed sense of delicate sensitivity.
Mm.
I did not feel the needle. He said, because I looked away. He said, did
Mm.
you feel it go in? Did you feel it come out? No. Didn't think it started. Yep. No, we're done. And I've had other injections with nurses who are, let's call them time short, where it's like jabbing the thing into you, all done, and you're walking away slightly concussed. So different situations. But yes, I quite like the idea of a doctor who doesn't like needles. I quite like that sound.
Yeah,
Sound of
and
that.
that shows you when someone has that sensitivity or that awareness of what that experience does for somebody, does that make a difference in what they do for others? Mm.
Because by everything he did, he can't. I mean, from my sensory perspective, I get more and more now after 2 years of chatting with you. I understand how he effectively calmed my senses down
Hmm.
because I'm more okay. Physically, I was very, very tense. I'm surprised he got a needle through in muscle, but or arm, whatever, because I was fairly tensed out by that. But he calmed everything down by
Mm.
talking smoothly and gently, and just his words and his care for me, his compassion, just relaxed everything down. I
Mm.
could then just tolerate the whole needle thing.
Mm.
I've had a few like that, and I've had more less like that, where they are time short and they just need to get the blood and or give you an injection or
Yeah.
whatever. And
And that is where if you actually paid attention to the sensory components of what he was doing, which may have been the way that he touched you, the way that he the tone of his voice, and what he did and how he did it. Again, that is all really, really subtle processing that even if you are short on time, and we know, I get it. It's just like, you kind of everything else ups a bit. And it's like, no, actually, even if you are short on time, you still can just bring things down so that your own level of what we call arousal, that neurological firing in the body, you're not compounding the situation for the other person. So that you use, quieter voices and gentler approaches, using much more control the sensory-based motor issues of things of how you use your own coordination to facilitate something to go well. And lovely. I do always love the way that there's such an interplay between our emotional state and their emotional state and how that all feeds in together.
It really does. Number 3, news resolutions for a sensory healthy 2026.
Yeah, what came to mind was a pet. I know it's kind of like Christmas is past and people think it might that's it's been and gone, but actually you could look for something. And the power of animals is a beautiful thing. Whether it be going and taking horse riding lessons or getting a dog or taking dog walking or getting a cat or finding something to be able um to love and caress. One thing about animals is they are tactile.
Mm.
And it's really healthy to have something that we can express that tactile love and appreciation and care for, because it feeds our systems in return. So regardless, I mean, I know we got a tortoise, well, we got 3 tortoises once. It wasn't quite the same, but there was still something about that physical being and that physical nurturing that is healthy. Because I suppose it's the sense of going back to point number 1, that you are caring for something else. It may not be someone else, but it is something. It is another living being that you can commit to. But boy, do they give an awful lot back to you in return if you get the right sensory fit between what they are from a sensory perspective, whether that be a fluffy dog or not quite get a spiky cat, but just that they don't bark though, cats. That's the one good thing. Dogs bark, and that's a really bad misfit with people who've got auditory processing issues. Although the dogs themselves are phenomenal, but if the barking is no, that just is just a bad fit. So we're looking at the gerbils, or we're looking at the hamsters, or other things that can give that same love. You can hold them close, you can have them on you. Cats will disappear off, but other animals you might be able to keep on your lap. So it's finding for the new year, the present side of things is over, but from a lifestyle, what other pet might you want to bring into your lifestyle for a new look 2026?
Can I bring in fish to the conversation? Because I know you can't actually pick. Well, okay, you shouldn't pick up a fish and cuddle it. Please don't. But we had fish, goldfish, nothing complicated. It wasn't, tropical tank, none of that stuff. But actually, it's really enjoyable just to see them. It's quite relaxing to
Yeah.
see the fish just sort of float in. And okay, don't bang the tank. We didn't. But if you stick your finger on the side of the tank, you can actually you can train a goldfish. It's quite good fun. And I showed the boys, and you can see they were. You've lost it. My dad's gone. He's off the reservation. But actually, you can train fish quite to a degree, and I really enjoyed it. But I quite
Mm.
like a fish tank because you got the gentle humming noise of the filter.
Yeah.
Okay, if it's not working, it gets loud. That's a different problem. That's quite a nice low frequency thing just in the background. But I
Yeah.
used to love just sitting watching.
Yeah.
They just float. It's just something about fish, which is why dentist surgeries back along before hygiene got in the way of silly things. But they
Mm.
used to have fish tanks. Why? Because it works. It relaxes you because these little things just floating and swimming and
It is. It's a beautiful visual thing. If you're in a restaurant as well, and you can't really do your press ups and whatever else to keep you calm and use your physical body that way. Using the vision at that point, it is a beautiful thing. It's a gorgeous thing. Yeah, and the same way, definitely get the fires. I know they're like what's the word? That they're not real. They're just on screens, but are they effective too? So getting the fires, getting the fish tanks, whatever you can. Yeah, get those up and enjoy those.
You made me think. I've never been to a posh restaurant like this. However, I do know they exist where you have a special tank that doesn't have fish in it, but lobsters that you're going to eat. That could be quite satisfying for some and terrifying for others.
That would not be my no, that would
No,
not be for me. No, because it's too much of a close association. I love eating lobster, seeing it live and thinking, oh, I'm gonna eat you soon. Like, no, I
no,
just can't do it.
I don't know. I've never been to find out. I think it would be kind of, if you're starting up a little relationship with the lobster in the tank, it's always quite fun. It's moving about and his hand comes in and it's like it's going for dinner, which is
Yeah.
why how we choose the pets in our lives is kind of an important thing. If you
Mhm.
get a tadpole and you love it and you care for it, it's not going to be a tadpole forever. It's
Yeah.
going to change. It's going to die or become a frog.
Yeah.
So we do need to think these things through. Puppies get bigger, cats you might be allergic. So we need to try
Mm.
these things out and not just go for. I remember a family they got a dog. We want a dog. We've got a dog. It's great.
Mm.
Where's the dog? We are like one of us is severely allergic to animals. But you
Oh.
didn't check that out. We just thought we'd be okay. So it is worth
Mm.
actually ensuring. Go and find someone who's got a cat. Go and
Yeah.
find someone who's got a dog with fur or with hair. Maybe you'd be okay with one, not the other. Maybe fish would freak you out. I know some people are like, but it's squirmy and I can't cope with it. Some people I know, very interesting people, have had tarantulas as a pet, or a snake, or a
Mm.
slug,
Mm.
giant slug. Um, hey, I mean, maybe that works. I
Not
wouldn't see that as a pet.
no, not for me. It's just, I mean, I enjoy going through. We have a fish market just near to where I live, and I love going through and just seeing the whole display and array of everything that's going on. But they do have a lobster tank in there, and I don't look. I genuinely don't look at that because I just think, nope, nope, just can't go there. So not that I would have a lobster as a pet, but yes.
You see, now rats is an interesting one. I went into someone's house and thought, why is there a rat in the house? Do I need to call pest control here? Because that's a rat. And they said, no, mate, they're really intelligent, really great pets. Yes, but it's a rat. I don't care how you want to look, it's a rat. So is
Mm.
it every skep? Yeah, well, it does sort of chew through the bars eventually. Right, it's a rat. It's not. It's one of those that I just don't think that makes a very good pet any more than a rhinoceros or a crocodile would. Because you know what, some
Mhm.
things don't need to be cuddled.
And also the fact that there's no bladder control. That there is no, I don't know what it is, or if it's a sphincter that's not there in a rat, or there are certain animals where there is no ability for them to hold in what needs to come out. It's just like, no, that does not constitute a pet for me, especially if you take them out of their cage and you want to have that cuddle. It's like,
Yes, perhaps birds may be quite good. They can get quite stinky, but there are things we have to consider if we're going to go for a pet, which could be a great
mm,
solution for all sorts of reasons. But
yeah,
we do need to consider not just a dog isn't just for Christmas. Yeah, we get that bit, but actually, are you allergic?
yeah.
Do you have the time not for the animal but for yourself?
Yeah, and it was really interesting. I opened the door and it was just dark early morning and I could hear the birds and thinking, crumbs, we're in the middle of winter and I can hear the birds beautifully at this time in the morning. It was something I don't know why I didn't realize that birds sang in the middle of winter at first thing in the morning, but it was just dark and but that was a beautiful thing. But I know for some people, for depending on their auditory processing, there are certain chirps and cheeps and sounds that the birds will make that are totally dysregulating. Um, and yeah, one of my clients is a big, bird watcher, or bird lover. But I'm not sure that it's the best sensory fit for the whole household. But that's something that they're exploring. It's something that they're working out and thinking that, yeah, how do we get that good fit in the household as far as what the pet is and who the pet is?
As we finished, I remember one time we had dogs back along, and we went to the vet, and the vet who we saw, she was wheezing and coughing. I'm thinking, what's wrong with you? So I'm allergic to pets. And I thought, as a vet, that's got to be really frustrating. But did you not check it out? Actually, had a conversation with her saying, should you not like seriously consider another career? Yeah, but I
Yeah.
love my job. Yeah, but you can't breathe, and you've been doing this for a couple of years. Has it got better? No, it gets steadily worse. But please, for my sake, find another career because you can't be a vet if
Wow.
you. I mean, they were awful to the point of she needed a doctor. go to hospital because you can't breathe bad. You can
Mm.
take an antihistamine, but you know what? That isn't going to cut it. So we
No.
do need to consider what it is that we do. Now, that was a very extreme physiological reaction,
Yep.
but actually her senses, you could tell she wasn't in a great place. She was exhausted, eyes, nose streaming. And I just think, sometimes we need to reassess. New
Yeah.
Year's is a good time. Is your
Yes.
career causing you physical harm? Maybe now's a good time to consider, do I want to do this forever? Even if you've taken 5 years to get there, do you know what? Maybe it's not worth it.
Yep. Sensory healthy jobs for sure.
Absolutely. You know we can fix the world.
With Jesus.
Well, yeah. That's an interesting sensory healthy one. Right. Okay. If people want to connect with you, you work from Jersey. You are an occupational therapist who specializes in sensory health. Why is that so hard to say after 2 years? I don't know. I've said it so many times. But if you want to connect with Anne, you can do. Just go to our website, pure247radio.org, pure247radio.org/ALJ, and you can connect with Anne Lord Jackson on Jersey, who can help you anywhere in the world.
Amen. Thank you.
Is that like, see, now I've got this idea of like Anne Lord Jackson in a superhero costume, like flying in for sensory health. It's not quite like that. But maybe it feels like that for the people that need the help. But anyway, thank you, Anne.
Thank you.